So with the new iPhone right around the corner, I know it always seems like there's a new iPhone right around the corner, come to think of it. But nevertheless, with the new iPhone right around the corner, I figured it would be a really good time for me to do a deal breaker video on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So if this is your first time checking out one of my deal breakers video, what I do normally is just go through 4 possibly negative deal breaking things for a specific device. In this case, we're going to be covering the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Now, I do like to put this caveat that some of these things may be a little bit nitpicky, but I like to think that if you're spending so much money on a piece of device, it's okay to be a little bit nitpicky every now and then. So without further ado, let's get into these 4 possibly negative things about the iPhone 12 Pro Max so you as a potential buyer can make a better overall buying decision. Let's get started. Internet, please be gentle. Now, the iPhone 12 Pro Max came out on November 13th of 2020. It featured kind of a redesign with a more boxier shape than the rounded edges of the iPhone that came before it. And you had some really cool features add to it. This one featured a supersized 6.7-inch display, the all-new A14 Bionic chip with ceramic shield for better drop protection, a new overall camera system that gave you the ability to record HDR, Dolby Vision at 30 frames per second. Now, on paper, overall, this is a pretty badass phone. It's a pretty badass iPhone, but this video ain't about positives. It's all about negatives. So we're going to get into our first actual possible deal breaking negatives of the iPhone, and it has something to do with the overall redesign of the iPhone itself. Like I said in the beginning, it features a supersized 6.7-inch display, which is awesome for viewing media and consuming just about anything you want on the phone, but it can also be a pretty big negative. Now, there's absolutely no doubt that when it comes to phone, for most people anyway, size definitely matters, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max is a massive beast of a phone with that 6.7-inch display that's now sitting in a wider and also heavier chassis overall at 6.33 by 307 by 0.29 inches, and it's 8.3 ounces. All that to say, overall, this phone is bigger, it feels bigger, it's heavier, and it just naturally feels a little bit more cumbersome to hold, which can be a negative for some people. Some people like big phones, but they don't like their phones to be too big, and this kind of borders on that too big area of phones. It can be a little bit uncomfortable to hold when you're consuming media for long durations, and it definitely is not a one-handed phone. You have to use the majority of the top options of this phone with 2 hands, and that can become cumbersome and also become a pretty big, massive deal breaker if size does matter to you. Comfort, use, long use, this phone can be uncomfortable at times. So our next possible deal breaker may be a point of contention for some people. You're either in the camp that you don't need this thing, or you're in the camp that all new devices should have this thing. I'm kind of in the camp that if you're spending hundreds of dollars, over $1,000 on a specific smartphone, then it definitely should have this thing. And the thing that I'm talking about, of course, is a high refresh rate on the screen. So even though the screen itself is big and beautiful, the overall specs of the screen do leave a little bit to be desired. Now, resolution wise, you are getting a 1284 by 2778 pixels with a 458 ppi density, and the aspect ratio is 19.59. But, and there's a big but, itself is locked at 60 hertz. And to me, that is a pretty huge drawback. In some cases, having this massive, beautiful screen, but only running at a 60 hertz without the ability to jump to 90 or 120 with the smooth motion refresh is really a downplay, especially when a lot of devices are now hitting the market with that higher refresh rate that really improves usability and just overall great user experience while navigating through menus. There are a lot of applications that are coming out now that are also supporting a higher refresh rate, and a ton of media already support it, and more media, games, movies are also now pushing to support a higher refresh rate on these media consumption devices that we use so much. So it would be nice for the media consumption device to conform to the media that we're consuming on, and at the moment the iPhone 12 Pro Max really just doesn't. So this next one, and by no means is Apple the only company that's guilty of this, but you know what? They kind of started it. So I'm going to attach this specific deal breaker to Apple's iPhone 12 Pro Max because it's one of the first devices that doesn't include headphones or a charger. Now, at the beginning of this video, I definitely said that some of these were going to be a little bit nitpicky, and this could probably classify as one of them. Apple's removal of the charger and the headphones for environmental purposes, or the ability to ship more iPhones, blah, 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 blah. It's really just a self-serving act because now they can sell you the charger and headphones at an additional cost. And the funny thing is, they're saying that most people already have chargers for the iPhone, but the charging cable that they actually send with the iPhone 12 Pro Max is a USB Type-C to Lightning connection, where most people have a USB Type-A to Lightning connection charger, so you don't necessarily have the charging brick to support this particular iPhone. So if you don't, guess what, folks? You're going to actually have to go out and spend some additional coin on top of the massive amounts of coin you've already spent on this iPhone to get something that really should be offered at no additional charge. On principle alone, this could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Now, speaking of different USB type chargers, that is a perfect segue into our final deal breaker, probably the most nitpicky one on the list, but again, it can be a little bit nitpicky. This one is going to be dealing with the fact that Apple just kind of refuses to adopt the USB Type-C connection on its iPhones. I have no idea why, but it can probably be a deal breaker. I really do think that the fact that Apple really just hasn't adopted the USB Type-C on their iPhones when they've already done so on their iPads is really a travesty. A Lightning connection for most people on the planet is a proprietary connection. For Apple, you're seeing all the bigger manufacturers of technology adopting the USB Type-C. My computer has 4 connections that are USB Type-C, and for the iPhone not to have one really is a travesty. And again, it really just shows that Apple really wants to hone in on that proprietary accessory market and making sure that the only way you're going to get their cable is to buy directly from them. A USB Type-C adapter on the iPhone, it's super fast. It's really convenient because a lot of people use that connection already to connect to so many different devices in their home. It really just doesn't make sense for Apple to stick with a Lightning connection for the iPhone. It definitely should make that jump to USB Type-C. Again, I know this may be a little bit of a nitpicky, deal-breaking negative for the iPhone 12 Pro Max, but again, you're spending so much money on this device, you can definitely be nitpicky all you want. Apple, come on, get on the train, adopt that USB Type-C. Everybody else is doing it. So there you have it, folks. You have a big iPhone that may be a little bit uncomfortable to hold, that does not come with a headphone or a charger, no high refresh rate on the screen, and no adoption of the USB Type-C. Are any of these things a deal breaker to you? Go ahead and comment in the comment section down below the video. Do you have a deal breaker that I didn't mention in this video, no matter how nitpicky it may be? Go ahead and comment in the comment section down below. You have my authority to be as nitpicky as possible. I'm trying to say the word nitpicky a ton in this video. And also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe with that bell for notification. It definitely helps out the channel. Make sure to check out some of the other deal breaker videos we've done. I'm going to throw them up over there. And until next time, guys, always remember to stay safe out there. And until I see you next time, peace out.